Okay guys, so we resized all the pictures. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to add keyframes. So what are keyframes? Keyframes is going to add motion to our stills. You can use a keyframe to zoom in into a photo. You can zoom out. You can make a photo rotate. You can make a photo move side to side. So let's go ahead and add keyframes to every single still. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first one. Since we are going to add a keyframe to every single photo, I'm going to pick this first one, make sure that it's selected. I do want to make this photo moved from left to right. So because I'm going to move it from left to right, I need to make sure that my photo is a little bit bigger than normal. So right now I have it at 70%. I'm going to move this to about, I don't know, 80%. So I have this photo set to 80%, and I'm going to move the x-axis where it says 960. I'm going to move this to the right all the way, but if I move it too much, notice how you can see black there, right? So I'm going to move it all the way to the left until the black kind of disappears. So 1150 is my number. I don't see no black right there. So I made my picture a little bit bigger, number one, and then number two, I shifted my image to the left edge right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make this image move to the left. So that's called a keyframe. So let's go ahead and make a keyframe. So we are going to add a keyframe to the beginning of the video clip right here at the very beginning. So how do you make it go to the very beginning? If you press the up key, it'll take you to the very beginning of the clip. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our effect controls and we're going to add a keyframe. So the keyframe, it's this icon right here. It looks like a stopwatch. So I'm going to call this a stopwatch. You're going to click on the stopwatch one time and it turns blue, and we just added a keyframe. So if you look right there, you'll see a keyframe. Now we're going to move our marker, and notice I can move the marker from the effect control panel, and it's moving down over here as well in the sequence because it's the same marker. So I'm going to move this marker to the end, and I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. Like, I'm okay right here, but if you look down here, like, I'm going to zoom in. I'll zoom in so you can see where I'm at. So I'm almost at the very end. Now we're going to add some keyframes. What are keyframes? Keyframes basically add motion to your pictures. You can make a photo move from left to right. You can zoom in into a photo. You can zoom out. You can rotate a photo, or you can even change the opacity on a photo. You can make it go from 100% opacity down to 0%. Like if you wanted it to fade in or fade away. So let's add a keyframe to this first picture right here, and we're going to add a position keyframe. So a position keyframe basically means that we're going to move it from left to right or up and down. Before we get started, we want to make sure that we put the marker at the very beginning of this video clip here. So if you press the up key button, it'll take you to the very beginning. So there you have it. There, we're right at the beginning of this video clip here. Because I know that I'm going to move this picture to the left, I need to make sure that this picture is a little bit bigger than normal. So right now I have it at 70%. I'm going to go ahead and make this 80%. So I made this picture a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and move the x-axis, which is side to side. I'm going to make sure that I move this picture all the way to the right as far as possible. But I don't want to show no black. If I go too far, I start to see the black, right? So I'm going to bring this back until the black goes away, something like that. So there's no more black, and I know that I made this picture a little bit bigger because now I have room to shift my picture to the left. So let's go ahead and make a keyframe. In your effect control panel, you're going to click on the stopwatch, right? This is the toggle animation icon. It looks like a stopwatch, so that's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to click on the stopwatch one time. When you click on the stopwatch, it turns blue, and we just added a keyframe. With these settings right here, we just added a keyframe. So now we're going to move our marker, and this is our marker here. Notice how when we move it up here, it also moves in our sequence, in our timeline window, right? So we're gonna move the marker close to the end, not all the way to the end, but maybe somewhere like right there. So now we're gonna change these settings, right? Because we already added a keyframe. To add a second keyframe, all you have to do is change the position settings, and a second keyframe will get added automatically. So let's move the x-axis. Now we're gonna move this picture to the left. So notice how I'm moving it to the left, and I'm gonna keep going until I see the black, but I don't want black in my photo, so I'm gonna bring it back like right there. So look at my keyframes. I have one here where it starts, and then I have a second one where it ends, and then I have the new setting. So if I were to rewind this, here, let's play this. I'm gonna go to the very beginning of the clip, and I'm gonna press play. This is a keyframe. This is the motion that I'm talking about. Okay, so with this keyframe, this was a position keyframe because it's moving from left to right. It's a position. If we were to do scale, then we can make it smaller or bigger, but we did do a position keyframe, and we know that it's activated because it's blue right here. So notice how with the changes that we did, the marker up here turned yellow, and we always want it to be green. Don't forget to go to sequence, render into out. That's how you render your video, and now it's all green, and now it's gonna play smooth. So go to file and save. Now let's add a second keyframe to the second slide. Let's do a scale keyframe. So I'm going to the second photo, make sure it's selected. I'm gonna press the up arrow key so that we start at the very beginning of the clip. And instead of going to position for the keyframe, we're gonna click on scale one time. Let's go ahead and move the marker up here, close to the end, maybe like right there. And for scale, we're gonna make this a little bit bigger. So let's go at that 77. Let's try 95. Okay, so now it's at 95. Notice how we added one keyframe, and there's your second keyframe. So let's go back, let's play this. And there is your scale keyframe. It's going from small to big. For the third photo, we're gonna add two keyframes at the same time. We're gonna make this move from left to right, but we're also gonna zoom in at the same time. So let's add two keyframes. Now we're kind of stepping up our keyframe game, if you know what I'm talking about. So let's make sure that we have the third clip selected, and I'm gonna press the up arrow key to start right at the beginning. Let's add two keyframes. So number one, we're gonna make this move up and down. So before we do that, let's go ahead and pick where we want this photo to start. And I think we should make it start right there. So you see how there's black on the bottom? Just kind of bring this down to about right there. So for position, I'm gonna click the keyframe. So we just added one keyframe. Now I'm gonna drag this all the way to the end of the clip. And for position, we're gonna bring this down. Just like this. So let's go ahead and play this. So notice how the picture is going down. But I did say that we were gonna add two keyframes to this one. So let's go ahead and stop it. Make sure that it's selected. I wanna match the first keyframe, which is right here. So if you click on this left arrow, it's gonna take you to the next previous keyframe. So I click it, it takes me to the first one. This time, because we already have a position, let's do a scale. So I'm gonna click on the scale icon. We just added a keyframe. And if we click on this top right arrow key, go to the next keyframe, it's gonna take us to the second keyframe that we already added, which is right here. But this time, remember, we're working with the scale keyframe. So let's make this bigger. maybe like 80.4. So if you look right here, guys, we do have two different keyframes that are in motion. We have the position keyframe, which is going down to up. And then we have the scale keyframe, which is zooming in on it, right? So it's two keyframes happening at the same exact time. Let's go ahead and play this to see what it looks like. So there it is. It's zooming in and it's moving. Okay, guys, so there's so many different other keyframes that you can do. I'm going to do a rotation keyframe just for the sake of showing you guys. For the fourth clip, we're going to add a rotation keyframe. There's so many different keyframes that you can do. You can do position, scale, rotation, anchor point, opacity, time mapping. For this one, let's try rotation. So for the fourth clip, let's go to the very beginning of the clip. So I'm going to press the up arrow key to take me to the beginning, and I'm going to go to rotation, and I'm going to click on the stopwatch to make a keyframe. And then we're going to move this almost to the end, not all the way to the end, but for the rotation, let's do 360 degrees and press enter. It basically does a 360, and that's the rotation there. So let's go ahead and play it. And there's a rotation. Okay, guys, so for these next clips here, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna talk much. I'm just gonna add different keyframes to each clip. So your project, to get an A, you need to have keyframes on every single photo. For this one, I'm gonna go back to the scale just because I want to show you guys something pretty cool. We've been adding only 2 keyframes per photo. I'm gonna add 3 keyframes to this picture. So I'm gonna press the up arrow key to take me to the very beginning of this clip, and I'm gonna click on scale. So I'm at 67.5% for the scale, and I'm gonna move this to the middle of the clip, somewhere like right here, somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to change the scale to like 85%. Okay. Then I'm going to drag this again close to the end, somewhere like right here. Don't go all the way to the end, but somewhere close to the end. And I'm going to bring this back to the original percentage. What was it, like 67%? And I brought it back to the original size. So now when we play it, notice what happens, right? We start at 67%, and then we zoom in to about 80%, and then we start zooming back to the original, right? So you can add as many different frames as you want. I'm gonna try opacity, so let's see what this does. Again, I'm gonna start this at the very beginning of the clip, so I'm gonna press the up arrow key, and I'm gonna go over to opacity, and I'm gonna click the stopwatch. I'm at 100% opacity. Now I'm gonna drag this all the way to the end, like right here. And for opacity, I'm gonna change this to 0%. And look what happens, it goes away because we changed the opacity to 0%. So we can't see it no more because it's at 0% visibility. But when you drag it back, notice how you can see it, right? That's because we start off here at 100% opacity, and if you look right here, you'll see the opacity change as the video plays. Let's go ahead and mess around with opacity again. So again, I'm going to click on this video clip here, and I'm going to press the up arrow key, and again I'm going to go to opacity, and I'm going to make a keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch. And I'm going to go to about to the middle. We're going to change opacity to 0%. It goes black. Then I want to keep dragging it to the end, and we're going to change that opacity back to 100%. And let's see what this looks like. So we start off at 100% opacity. Let's hit play. It goes to 0%, and then it comes back up to 100%. All right, so we have a couple more clips to go. Again, I'm going to press the up arrow key, Let's go to scale, and I'm going to move this to the right, and I'm going to make this bigger. All right, let's play it. For this picture here, I do want to start off with the picture way bigger. Then I want to zoom out on the photo. So before I make a keyframe, I'm going to go ahead and make this photo really big, something like this. And now I'm going to press the up arrow key to go to the very beginning of the video clip, make sure that it's selected. Now I'm going to go to scale and I'm going to click on that stopwatch, and I have it at 123%. And let's go ahead and move the marker close to the end. And I'm going to change the scale size to about 68%. So now let's play it. Okay, we have 2 more to go, and I'm going to do these pretty fast here. So. Okay, so all of these photos here have a keyframe. So what is a keyframe? A keyframe is going to put your still into motion. You can move it from side to side. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can rotate it like this. You can even fade it out, or fade it in if you want to. Notice how my marker up here is all yellow. That means I gotta render it. So let's go to sequence, render into out, and there it is. It's all green, and I have my video all done. All right guys, so that's how you add keyframes. For our next video, we are going to add transitions to this slideshow.